Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Funkatopia. I am your host, Mr. Christopher. WTF, as we like to say here. Welcome to Funkatopia. I hope you guys aren't tired. Are you guys tired? You bet you shouldn't be tired because, again, this gentleman has become a regular on the show, and I'm going to welcome him back. So we're going to go through some music news because there's some things we need to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, the illustrious, the man himself, the one, the only, the king, Michael Bland's in the house.
Yes. 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 Indie face. Yes.
No. Right up there, man.
Oh, man. I'm such a clown. What's going on, man?
How you been, man? How you been?
Good, man. I mean, lately you've been catching me with nothing to do on Tuesday nights.
See, now I've got to add you to the payroll. See, that's what's happening, man.
Hey, listen, I don't mind a little love offering, Mr. Christopher.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to do that.
The reason I'm sitting here is because I'm not earning at this moment. So I'll take it.
Yeah, there you go. Just email me your Cash App or whatever. And let's
PayPal, no problem.
New co-host of Funkatopia, Michael Bland's in the house.
Don't make it official because I won't be able to make it next week. I got rehearsal, but
whenever you can make it, whenever you can make it, it's an honor for sure.
Yeah,
man, let me just tell you, it's always cool to have you on the show because you're such just a very, very deep well of knowledge, man. And it's really, really cool to have you on. So, and I knew some of the topics I was going to be talking about tonight that you would probably have definitely some opinions about some of this stuff for sure.
Yes.
Let's just start off with some innocuous stuff for sure. Did you happen to watch the 50th anniversary SNL special?
I believe so. Came on, and I think I was in and out of consciousness for most of it. I mean, some of it I was really into, and I do a lot of channel surfing lately, so I probably missed something important, but I don't know. I got the gist of it. Yeah.
I get it. Lisa says your volume's a little bit low. I don't know if that's
low. Okay. Yep. Hey. Okay. I just turned it up, so maybe
that's okay. I have headphones on, so it sounds fine to me.
Yeah, me too.
Well, if you missed it, Miley Cyrus and Brittany Howard of Alabama Shakes did a cover of, pretty faithful cover to "Nothing Compares to You." You did catch this part?
I caught the end of it. She was hollering by the time I turned the channel.
So who was hollering? Brittany?
No, Miley.
Miley, yeah. See, okay, here I respect Miley Cyrus. I respect, her career and everything that she's been through, and that she's kind of managed to she definitely understands marketing, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think it's pretty undeniable that you might not like her voice, but she's got some voice, man. She's a strong singer. Miley is.
Yes, she is. Absolutely.
She's rough and tough. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any problems with her singing voice at all. It's just.
What's the problem? What's the problem, Christopher?
I guess her speaking voice is just a really unusual speaking voice. It's what
that sort of thing. She has a really cool.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just this deeper type of, I don't know.
Yeah, okay, that's cool, man. I mean, but listen, Miley's just strong in the game, man. She's not to be underestimated. I actually had the pleasure of playing on one of her hits, a song called 7 Things.
Really?
Yeah, the 7 things I hate about you. You're it's kind of pop but punk rocky. John Fields, my good friend John Fields, who's most famous for producing The Beautiful Letdown by Switchfoot.
Oh,
we also worked on a record called what was the name? The Handler by Harmar Superstar. We worked on that together. We worked on several records. Anyway, he went through a run once he started producing the Jonas Brothers. Hollywood Records started sending him Demi Lovato and Miley and this and that, and so I'm in a lot of places I wasn't supposed to be because of him.
Let me tell you, I'm glad that you mentioned. We kind of gave a little last time you were on, I think, or maybe it was 2 times ago. We did a little bit of a love fest for XTC.
Oh yeah.
I think there needs to be, and actually, I actually got you a gift. I actually bought you something. I may have to. I don't want to hold it until April, but I did. What I saw something. And I said Michael has to have this, and he probably doesn't have this. But we'll actually see. It is. I bought you a copy of Wasp Star from XTC.
Whoa!
I don't know if you've ever heard this album. This is one of their later albums, but it's actually really fantastic. And it's Wasp. It's basically Venus. It's basically Venus, Apple Venus Volume 2, I think.
Okay. Yes.
Because there's like a subhead. It's Apple Venus, but it's Apple Venus Part 2. It's called Wasp Star, and I said I'm going to pick this up for Michael. So the next time I see you, don't let me forget to give this to you because I got
absolutely, man. Yeah, no, I mean there's not a bad record by XTC. They're all brilliant. I mean, I haven't, because they're so dense musically. I haven't heard all of their records really. I mean,
they got some good stuff.
My friend John Fields, he kind of is responsible for me kind of knowing about them, and not only that. He actually, back before the Information Highway was such a thing, I think Andy Partridge did like there was a thing like a Q&A online, and he actually pitched my name for. He's like he said, I sent Andy Partridge a message, saying he should hire you for to play on one of their records, since they have a guest drummer almost on every album, as at that by that time. I was like, okay, and somehow my name, because of that, my name made it into like a book, like an autobiography or something, some sort of book about XTC. But they called me Michael Blinn, I think, like BLEN or something. Like I made it in the book, but they messed up my name, so nobody knows.
Oh, man. Well, and the reason why I bring that up was because I also feel like at some point in time in the near future, we need to do a little bit of a love fest for Switchfoot.
Well, then we have to have John with us.
Yes, absolutely. Because
for both, for XTC and for Switchfoot.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a special to kind of talk about this, because not only do I love Switchfoot, but you specifically mentioned The Beautiful Letdown, which is probably they're actually, I don't know if that tour is over, or maybe I think it just ended, but they actually toured because it was the 25th anniversary. Is it 20th or 25th anniversary of that album? And I saw it here in Atlanta, and they played that album in its entirety. And I don't know if there's anybody. The chat room seems unusually quiet. Do you agree?
I hadn't noticed. I guess it's just
like nobody. Yeah, okay. Just making sure you guys.
Nobody cares about it.
Everybody okay? Everybody all right?
We can talk about Prince. We can talk about Prince. I talk about Prince every day with somebody.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but that's another reason why I like Michael on the show quite a bit, is because we're the same age and we kind of geek out on the same styles of music, because it seems like we've been in like really similar musical patterns.
Yeah, it seems like the better we get to know each other, it's like, yeah, man,
yes.
Okay. Now I'm figuring out why we have such a thing happening. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I do want to ask you about this. Let me see if I still have this page up, because I happen to okay, good. Kate says we're here listening intently. Good. I happen to stumble upon a song that apparently you performed on that I was not aware of, and I'm not exactly sure how I went down this rabbit hole, but let me see if I can pull up the screen. It is a track that you wrote with Prince called No Cones Allowed, that I guess was supposed to be used in the movie The Coneheads. This is a page from Prince Vault. And I was just like, I don't even know where the song got mentioned. Oh, it was on a Prince Vault daily thing, and it says today they were recording No Cones Allowed, which was apparent, according to Prince Vault, it was a track that was written for the movie Coneheads. Since we're talking about SNL too, but it was not used, and I guess it just kind of just sat. Do you remember the song at all? It says you were probably on it.
Okay, but it's no, I honestly don't.
I
don't remember anything about it. What I do remember about the Coneheads, they referred to us as blunt skulls, and I always thought that was funny.
All right, there you go. So, known codes. Yeah, I would have been interested to at least hear what the lyrically, because here's the other thing too with Prince. Whenever he wrote songs for movies, he didn't really, with the exception of Girl 6, he didn't really typically do a lot of I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong, but I feel like he didn't write things specifically for necessarily the film. It may just like, all right, let me get the vibe for this. All right, I'm just going to just write this song to kind of accompany whatever this track is. And I found it interesting that the song was entitled "No Cones Allowed," which is very specific to the title of the movie. So it's like it seemed like it was really specifically written for that movie, which was kind of a little bit outside of the realm.
So you think Prince might sometimes go like, "Oh, I got something for that," and give him something out of the vault or something?
Yeah, I would. It seems like that most of the time, but I could be wrong.
That could be, but I mean, we know that he wasn't allowed to phone it in on the Batman soundtrack because Tim Burton just shot down probably. I mean, I don't know how many songs Prince was like, I just kept writing, and he'd say yes, no, no, So I mean, there is that he could cater to a particular purpose. Of course he had it in him. He just was defiant, Yeah. But I will say about Girl 6 that Tommy Barbarella brought in the theme song.
I did not know that.
He worked up the music, and I think either Prince wrote the words and the melody. They wrote that song together, and I think it also caused him a lot of it caused Barbarella a lot of legal acrimony, because at some point there was like a legal battle about Girl 6 and like who wrote what. I'm not sure exactly, but I do remember him complaining about having to pay for a lawyer, and he was just trying to get in touch with Prince to solidify to get somebody to confess to this is the process, this is how this went down, and to let him off the hook. Like he got blamed unjustly for something, and it ended up costing him,
Really, I haven't heard this story.
You can't hear everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not even sure I'm supposed to be telling it, but I do know that he got the short end of the stick on that. And I guess that was the first time in my life I was happy that I didn't, I was not embroiled in a writing situation with Prince.
Yeah, glad I was out that day, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Joni asked, I don't know about this question. Since Michael was around at the time, can you please clear up if Disney's Power line was indeed inspired by Prince, and did Prince watch it?
I don't yeah, okay.
I don't even know what that is.
Sorry, Joni. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what Disney's Power line is. That doesn't even sound familiar. I mean, they have a lot of weird. I mean,
yeah. Also, yeah, yes. I don't have a constructive answer for that. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I understood. We got a couple just pop things to kind of get out of the way. Happy 60th birthday to Dr. Dre. He turned 60 today. Happy birthday. I mean, let's face it, Eminem, NWA, obviously, Kendrick Lamar, 50 Cent, The Game, Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg,
unimpeachable,
Warren G, Anderson .Paak, Beats headphones. I mean, there's like so many things this man has touched.
Yeah, but how is it that he still, when you put him in a suit, he still looks thuggish, ruggish? He doesn't look like he's a refined person. It looks like he's trying to be something he's not to be in this picture. That's okay.
Yeah, I know. I always thought that I thought it was a good portrayal of him in the film and stuff, because he never really was.
Yeah, it wasn't really that he was. Yeah, he was doing what he needed to do to get what he needed out of the world. I got it.
Yeah.
Yes, sure. I mean, but unimpeachable, man. Are you kidding? Dre is one of the greatest of all times. No one can dispute that.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's just a master. I mean, just a man. And also another congratulations to the one and only Martha Reeves.
Right?
Yeah, she's Motown legend Martha Reeves, Dancing in the Street, Heat Wave, Jimmy Mack. no way around all this. So, she is 82 years old, and she finally got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And obviously, in this picture is William Stevenson. He's a producer. Smokey Robinson, Berry Gordy, and Stevie Wonder. Um, let me get a little bit. First off, anytime that they can take time to honor somebody that deservedly so needs to be honored, that's a great thing.
Sure.
But do you kind of feel like, I don't know what the whole process is with the Hollywood Walk of Fame, but I do know that you have to pay, if you get one, you have to pay $50,000. And I think that's for the star itself, them closing off, whatever it is. Do you kind of feel like that part of it makes it a little bit more, do you kind of feel like it's more like a sham type of thing? It's just kind of like, if you have the money, you can get one type of.
Well, yeah, I mean, anybody. Well, there are certain awards in life that you don't have to earn; you can just pay for. I'm not saying that that's what this is, but yeah, I feel like it's kind of a trap. I mean, you remember when Jim Carrey was on the MTV Music Awards stuff, and he was kind of being sarcastic about how they build these events so that they force you to show up out of a sense of guilt or excitement. Like it's all a trap.
Right. Yeah,
it's all a trap. It's a trap to somebody's benefiting from it monetarily, clearly, because well, there you go. I mean, some people even got to pay.
I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. You had to. Now, obviously, Prince returned it down. I think they kind of offer it to you, and if you accept, you have to come up with $50,000 to pay for, I guess, the whole process or whatever. And I'm sure that's not it, but I always wondered. Lisa says in the 80s it was about $5K, but has it always been a pay per play thing on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? Like, did Cary Grant and Frank Sinatra and all those people have to pay for it? I wonder if it was at one point in time it was just the theater or whatever was there.
That's a good question, but I mean
them, and then it became like,
I don't know, man.
You gotta pay for this.
I mean,
I wonder if.
I don't know how deep you want to go with it, but I'm thinking about like when Hattie Mae McDaniel got, it's like there's no way she had 5,000, let alone 1,000 probably to just pay on. You know what I mean? It's like, man, I don't care for it. I don't think that's cool.
Yeah, I think. Well, Suzanne says, I've heard that some fan clubs paid for the stars. Yeah, that would be acceptable to me, I guess. But it's still the fact that you have to pay for the award. It seems kind of, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yes, exactly. I mean, it's almost as bad as we're all winners. Like, how when the dynamic changed in elementary school and there were no real winners anymore. Like we're going to give a ribbon to everybody. And so it's like when you open access, it takes away the privilege, I think.
Yeah. Lisa said,
I just said something profound, actually. When you take away access, when you open access, you take away privilege.
Right.
Is what I said. So yeah, I think it's one of my favorite quotes, and I don't remember who said it, but they said, whatever's for everybody isn't for anybody.
I wonder I don't know if Ken Jerome Harvey is being serious, but he says, Mr. C, remind us again who Mr. Bland is.
Oh, it's all right. I ain't nobody special, Ken Jerome Harvey. I'm nobody, man.
That is a lie. This is.
I'm just taking up space. What happened was you missed your cohort. You missed Jeff, and you've been talking to me more than him lately. And now I've become your surrogate. I'm your surrogate friend now. I'm your real friend, man. But yeah, it's.
This is the legendary drummer Michael Bland, who played with Soul Asylum, and of course was a huge portion. Played on many albums from Prince and the New Power Generation. He was a member of the MPG, drummer extraordinaire, the man himself, Mr. Michael Bland.
Yeah, all right. Now I ain't nobody special, man.
No. That's ridiculous.
I'm just another person running my mouth in the on the Funkatopia hour. Everybody.
Yeah, it's He's illustrious. Okay, let's talk about this, because this is one of the things I told you about that I was gonna talk. And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has announced who their, I guess, I think what do they call this? I think it's on the slide here. It is basically the nominees for the 25 induction. So 7, they say 5 to 7, I think is the number, maybe 4 to 7. I can't remember. Yeah, no, it's 5 to 7. So 5 to 7, I don't know how they decide, of these artists are going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year. And the list is Bad Company, the Black Crowes, Mariah Carey, Chubby Checker, Joe Cocker, Billy Idol, Joy Division / New Order, Cyndi Lauper, Mana, Oasis, Outkast, Fish, Soundgarden, and the White Stripes. All right, so this is an interesting list. No funk on the list whatsoever, unless you consider Outkast, which, thanks to people like Doc and Outkast, they really truly do keep funk alive in a lot. So if you're looking at this list, who's your top pick here?
Oh, Outkast, of course. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an AT alien, so.
All right, no. Let's not play around with it. I mean, let me first say that I think I'm not familiar with Mana.
I'm not either. I was just going to say that. I was embarrassed to say it, but I was like, I have no idea.
That's okay, man. Listen, who are we here to impress, man? Hey, hardly nobody even is interacting with us. But I mean, I love Bad Company. I like the Black Crowes. I think Mariah Carey is still incredible.
Yeah, she is. I mean, Outkast is definitely, they're definitely at the top. I don't see how they don't make it. I mean, if they're putting, Biggie in, no reason that Outkast should not be in this list of that 5 to 7.
Outkast is the coolest. I would keep Oasis out just on general principle.
Why?
It's a bunch of angry Brits, man. It's like, who needs that? It's like they don't. I mean, have you seen them in interviews?
Yeah,
they'd rather be snubbed.
They're a mess. They would probably revel in being snubbed more.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. I mean, first and second off, that's an old act. They're not Ray and Dave Davies from the Kinks. Those brother acts that used to fist fight on stage back in the 60s. Like, just leave it alone, man. You're never going to be as cool as those dudes.
Yeah.
That's my opinion about Oasis. I'm not saying their work is not quality. I'm just saying you're not who you think you are.
All right. Ken Jerome said, how many make it from the list? It's 5 to 7.
So I got to pick the 5 that I would.
Yeah, pick 5. Yes, let's just see what your 5 is.
I'm so on Billy Idol, but you know what? I was ruminating the other morning. A song by Billy Idol called "Hot in the City"?
Yes, I do.
That intro is so cold, man. Like, it just kind of ran through that stranger. That it's so cool. I don't know why it didn't hit me that way when I first heard it, or but it's like, wow, that's really a hot intro. Like, he had like a little kind of soul music sort of angle to his music, but even though it was kind of aggressive, like even like Flesh for Fantasy and you know what I mean, Eyes Without a Face. I was like, he had some smooth cuts.
Mm-hmm.
I would put Billy in there. Cyndi Lauper is a legend, man, and what a great singer, and what great songs,
Mm-hmm.
Outkast just cause. Give me a reason why not.
And I see you're going down the list. Is there any reason why you skipped over Chubby Checker?
No, other than the fact that I was just like, yeah, okay, he should have been on already.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I guess, Joe Cocker. Well, yes. I mean, he rates,
Yeah.
Even if the biggest song he ever cut probably was the Billy Preston cover, that "You Are So Beautiful."
Yeah, Joe has got if you go into, here's the thing about Joe Cocker. All of his hits, all of the big songs that he did were written by somebody else. And that's pretty typical. But if you look at Joe Cocker as an artist in general, even if you look over, he's just, I mean, how is he not in there anyways? I mean, I hate that he's in this mix, but Joe is a rock and roll legend. I mean, it's.
Yes, I'm not taking anything away from him, man.
Yeah.
But you know what? Bad Company. I think that Paul Rodgers is one of the most underrated singers ever. That dude he's got so much soul when he sings, you know, and he sings like a natural man. He's almost like he's a white blues singer, man, but he's like a white soul singer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he's singing hard with the band, he's matching them, but he's got something else coming, man.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. I have to agree with that for sure.
Did you see when he was singing with Queen for a hot minute?
Yeah, I did. I remember seeing clips of it. Yeah,
it was incredible, but it wasn't right. I mean,
yeah,
he didn't approach it like Freddie because he doesn't have the same range. But what an incredible singer and reinterpretation of that material. Yeah, man, he was so on with it. You know?
And you people in the chat room can do this too. Pick your 5. Tell me who your 5 is. But Michael, so far you said.
Well, I said a lot, but I mean, if you want me to stop conversating about it,
no.
Maybe I can.
I'm just trying to figure out where we are on the list as far as who you picking.
Yeah, me too. But I have an appreciation for everybody on the list that I know.
What about Fish? What about Fish?
Well, I have a little less appreciation for Fish just because I don't have a real affinity for jamming. You know what I mean? I don't like to do a jam. I don't like jamming out.
Yeah, I have nothing but respect for Fish. I know they've been around for a long time. I could not name one Fish song if you put a gun to my head, because they're very Grateful Dead-ish, which is fine, but I don't there's nothing against Fish. They could be a really fantastic band. I could get into them immediately and be like, oh yeah, I can see why people like them. But I just don't know enough about them really.
Same here. I think Trey Anastasio, he rates. If he's hanging out with Les Claypool, he's got to rate because Les don't play around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
now,
he must be all right.
Yeah. Soundgarden. I mean, Chris Cornell. I mean, it's
incredible. But I'll tell you what, I'm not a real fan, man.
Really?
I think that some of their work is incredible, and I think Matt Cameron, the drummer who plays with them and Pearl Jam, incredible drummer, nice guy. I met him one year at the NAMM show out in LA. But that's not the music I go to listen to for enjoyment. It's like if I go to listen, I'm usually just kind of, I don't know. I'm like, it's puzzling to me the way their music is put together. What a statement. It's puzzling to me the way their music is put together. I don't absorb it like I absorb like Led Zeppelin or something. Like the thought process is in motion when I hear Soundgarden. With Zeppelin, it's like all heart. You know?
Yeah, I definitely can appreciate Soundgarden. I remember when they came on the scene, their first album was vicious. I mean, there was like, it's kind of like Metallica's, Ride the Lightning type of thing. It's like, when you get that first album, you're like, what is happening?
Yeah, when when it was grown like in darkness where the world couldn't see it. And then it gets unleashed on the world. It's like, what is that? Yes. Yeah. Ride the Lightning had that same impact on me. A friend of mine, this guy named Willie Murphy, was a bass player. He dressed like Sid Vicious. Like he was kind of like that sort of dude. And he'd come over with his steel tip boots and he'd bring records. He brought like the first time I heard the Red Hot Chili Peppers was Willie and also Ride the Lightning. Like he would bring records over to the house and I would just like, whoa. I didn't like everything I heard, but he always had a different kind of style, man. I was like, anybody who's listening to Metallica and the Red Hot Chili Peppers is covering some ground, I think.
Yeah. Have you ever heard Soundgarden song Big Dumb Sex?
I have not.
You would if you
Okay.
If I get an opportunity, it's one of those songs that's like a shocker, and it was
Okay.
the first song that I had ever heard from Soundgarden, and it's a very intense song. But all right, we got some top fives that people. Oh, well, let's finish talking about. Finish on the list.
Well,
Which
okay. What's left? Joy Division.
yeah, Joy Division, New Order. I was while we. I'm just talking about my specific musical journey. At this point in time, I am hardcore into funk and 80s funk, and I know a lot of my friends that kind of swayed over into that realm of New Order. I was just not there. I was not feeling it when it was happening. I can appreciate it for what it was, but it just wasn't the style of music that I was listening to when it was happening. And I have lots of friends that are into that sound. But there were some bands that came out of that mix that I did like. XTC being one of them. I mean, obviously they weren't really, connected to that, but that style of music, XTC being one of them, Tones on Tail, Love and Rockets.
On tail. Oh wow, man. Okay.
Yeah. So like those types. Yeah. So there was like the pieces of that style, but it was different than what New Order was doing. But but they had some great stuff. The Cure was great. I mean,
I got you. I thought you were going a different direction because of the electronic aspect of that music.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say I dug Kraftwerk. I
Kraftwerk?
even like Devo. That's where I thought you were going to go with it.
Yellow. I like Yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
New Order. New Order's is that Blue Monday? How does it feel?
Yes.
Oh man, that rolls pretty hard.
Yeah, a lot of their tracks roll hard.
You know what? Also, another band that I wouldn't expect to be kind of funky, but a friend of mine is into all that music, and he used to be my drum tech. His name is Icky James. Icky James and I'd get in his truck, and he'd have he'd have Ministry on,
Oh,
and bands like that. I'm like, what is this, man? This is funky, but it's kind of UK's. Oh man, this is I'm like, this is Ministry. My whole life, I thought they were like dark and hard. It's like they are, but this, it was like I can't remember the work for love or something like that. I can't remember the name of the song, but it was kind of funky, man. It was like it sounded like somebody like a punk rock guitar player was playing trying to play like Nile Rodgers. He was kind of getting it, like it had a little funk to it, man. I miss when everybody had a little bit of little funk in them.
Yeah, absolutely. Those types of even the harder bands like Alice in Chains, Jane's Addiction.
Sure.
Those it was like, man, there's some funk in here. There's just got those elements that kind of
Yeah, every once in a while they just wear their heart on their sleeve. It's funny because people think that the way an artist, as they present themselves or their art, like it's a reflection of their taste in music. Not always.
Right.
Not always. Sometimes people are just doing what they sound best doing, or whatever medium they can use to get it across. But they can appreciate other types of music all the way around. Dave Pirner moved to New Orleans partly because of the culture, but also partly because of just how do I explain? It was really like all the way music is played there. Like just like we talked about it a few times. Just how people are just sort of so, but they're like incredible. Like in Nashville, it's like you can't throw a brick without hitting a really good singer-songwriter.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're on public access and without record deals, without publishing deals. And it's like, that dude sounds like he should be on the radio right now. That's how it is in New Orleans. There's so many great musicians that it's like you just throw a stone, cast a stone in any direction. You'll hit somebody great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's so many rooted family. We got some top fives here that people have already. I asked you guys to put them up, so let's look at their top fives. Charlotte says Cyndi Lauper, Mariah Carey, Billy Idol, Outkast, and Joe Cocker. That's a pretty strong 5.
That's solid. Yeah, I get that. I wouldn't
Yep.
mind that. Do we have any others?
Yeah, we do. Krista Lawler says Bad Company, Joe Cocker, Billy Idol, Joy Division / New Order, and Outkast.
I don't mind that one either. I mean, it's
Yep.
it's a problem when you love music. You don't really your heart's open to everything, you know?
Lisa says Outkast. She put them first. Okay, that's respect. Chubby Checker, Cyndi Lauper, Billy Idol, Mariah Carey.
Well, that's 6 then, isn't it? Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. I mean, they're going to pick 5 to 7, but I asked you guys for top 5, but that's okay. She was on the fence on 1. That's all right. It's all good.
It's weird. It's like you can't really go wrong. I mean,
Dina Danford, Outkast, Cyndi Lauper, Bad Company, Joe Cocker, Chubby Checker, Mariah Carey, and Billy Idol.
Well, she went all the way. She covered the spread.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, she went the whole 7. And then the last one here is Joni Comenzo, who said Bad Company, Mariah, Chubby Checker, Joe Cocker, and Joy Division New Order. Now, Henry asked a question here. I'm going to let you answer this. What do you think about people who say rock and roll should be the only music in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
They don't understand the roots of rock and roll.
Yeah, I can understand. I mean, listen, the whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing has been, to me, I'm going to be honest. I don't know how they pick who they pick. I mean, look, if you look at this list, let me ask you a question. If you look at this list, is there anybody on there that you think I don't get why they're on there? I mean, you mentioned Oasis. Is there any other?
No, I mean, Fish is a little bit of a head scratcher to me because they're not. I mean, some people are kind of niche. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they serve a certain kind of demographic, and they're not necessarily crossover or like pop. I mean, but the way I would rate it is: do you have a song that's in the Great American Music Lexicon? That would exclude Fish. That would exclude probably Mana.
or Mana or is it?
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know.
I don't know. There's an accent over that A, so I presume that was how you said it.
And
you're gonna find the phonetic.
No, I was actually going to research this question because, and I wasn't going to pretend like I knew, but I did want to find the answer to this question. She said, "What is the Recognition Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Is it based on record sales or popularity or both?" So, what are the
criteria?
Yeah. There you go. What is the criteria? What is the criteria for the rock and roll?
I think, like most awards, what Prince told me one time, he was talking to somebody who was on the Grammy board, and they tried to offer him something honorary or something at some point, and he was like, well, how come I haven't been awarded? What about last year when my, some record he had, it might have been even like Diamonds and Pearls. Like, how come I was snubbed that year?
Right.
Or it wasn't how come I was snubbed this year, but not snubbed a different year, he was saying. And they said, well, that was the year we decided we liked you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's favoritism. There's, involved in the process always. Somebody's always slipping their thumb on the scale, man. That's why I don't believe, really, I never actually said I don't believe in it, but I kind of don't believe in it.
Yeah, it's all okay. To be eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, an artist must meet the following criteria. And I guess it's pulling it from various sites because this is the AI overview. They have to have released their first commercial recording at least 25 years prior to the nomination.
Okay.
Be considered for their musical influence and cultural impact. And the selection process also includes voting. The nominees are voted on by a committee of music industry professionals, academics, and journalists. Fans can vote on a ballot of nominees, and a new class of inductees is announced in May. I don't know what that means, a selection. Some factors that also may be considered: legacy, name recognition, Billboard chart toppers, impact on the world, and inspiration. It's interesting.
Okay. Now, can you put the list back up?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Well, let's graze them, man. Who on this list is not one of these kids is not like the others?
Mana. I think this is
Okay.
this may be a cultural geographical thing because they're probably
They're trying to push Latin, trying to get some more Latin in there. You think maybe it's a DEI situation?
no.
They're pushing that DEI again. See, I never even heard of these dudes. These Spaniards come from where?
Hold on a second. Let me pull up. Hold on a second.
Can you find out what is Mana?
Yeah. Mana is the first Spanish language rock band.
Okay.
And they are
I had that part right. It's Spaniards, yes.
And these are some of their songs. They got quite a bit of songs. Obviously, if they formed in 1981.
Okay.
So they've been around for a minute.
I don't want to accuse them of anything, but I've never heard of them.
Yeah, but they sell out places. Somebody in the chat room said they sell out places everywhere all the time. It's just, but you know what? There's a lot of bands that do, like, we could go across the gamut about bands that have not been nominated for this friggin' thing. Jamiroquai.
Wow.
Well, first off, I think I have a screen of this.
Yeah, who doesn't know Virtual Insanity?
Yeah, that's
right. What I'm saying is like that's yeah. This
is the ultimate classic rock and roll site, and I'm not going to go through all 145. Maybe like scroll fast through.
America's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
These are bands that are. They named 145 bands that are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that are shockers. Like some of them I didn't even recognize, but sorry, I'm going to go back up. Yeah. Let's get down here. Bryan Adams is not in there.
Man,
which
ridiculous.
Which is a shocker. Let me see if I can scroll this up. Bryan Adams is not in there. Alice in Chains is not in there. Greg Allman is not in there. What?
That's a crime.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. Greg Allman is not in it. America is not in it. You already commented.
That don't make sense at all.
Anthrax is not in there. This is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. How is
They're one of the big four. They're one of the big four, man. How can you not be in the Rock and Roll Hall? Metallica, Anthrax, Megadeth, and is it Pantera? The big four.
And it says right here they've been eligible since 2009.
Somebody's got a bone to pick with them.
This is ridiculous. Argent.
Sometimes people are left out because somebody's upset. You know that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was a couple examples that Argent is another one. I'm not really familiar with Argent too much, but
Argent. You know who Argent is? That's I can't remember the dude's first name, but Argent is the organist and songwriter from
the Zombies.
The Zombies. Yes. Yeah. And then he broke away and did the song "Hold Your Head Up." That was Argent with that long organ solo in the middle.
Hold your head up.
Yeah.
Asia's not on. Come on, Asia's not on there.
That's at least 2 big hits. I don't know why they did that.
BTO, Bachman Turner Overdrive is not
on, man. They just don't like Canadians. That's what it is.
Bad Company. They're in here. They're in the running now. So
running where they should just hand it to them.
Right. Badfinger.
Badfinger was incredible.
Yes, it's great. Beck is not Beck. I can see it. And now he's been eligible since. What does it say he was eligible for? He should be in there. He's definitely.
I agree, but I think that it would take somebody a little more enlightened to realize that.
Yes, because
he's not. I mean, he's kind of an agitator. You know what I mean? He's not. Yeah. He's had some big songs, but it's not. He's not. Yeah. I don't consider him to be pop. I think he's just left of center, but he has an interesting taste in production. Like it's kind of hip hop and kind of slacker, and he's got a certain kind of his music has a certain personality to it.
Yeah, the B-52s are not in there. The Black Crow nominated. Obviously, Black Crows are nominated now. Blackfoot's not in there.
Oh wow.
Blind Faith. We're going to go through a little bit quicker. Blood Spears, Blue Cheer. I don't think I know Blue Cheer.
They predate my consciousness.
Yeah. Blue Oyster Cult doesn't even make any sense to me.
Don't Fear the Reaper. Everybody knows Don't Fear the Reaper.
Blue Oyster Cult is just, John
Godzilla.
Come on, now. John
Bon Jovi. Oh man.
Come on, it's just yeah. Anyways, Boston. How is Boston not?
It was the biggest selling debut album by any artist in history for the longest when I was a kid.
This is ridiculous.
Oh man.
Brownsville Station, Canned Heat, the Chambers Brothers.
The time. Go. Yeah, that man.
That's Joe Cocker. He's nominated. Phil Collins.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that doesn't make any sense as far as like popularity.
Yeah,
but I mean, yeah, I really. It's like, where do you even begin with Phil Collins? He comes from being the drummer in Genesis to being the lead singer in Genesis to being his own solo act. I mean, what an incredible career.
Who else did? Don Henley was very, very similar. He was like
great singer, great drummer, great writer, all of those things.
Yes, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
That's crazy.
That's crazy too. That's crazy. The Cult. I can see they only had like a couple hits, but yeah, I mean,
Firewoman, you're a firewoman. You're the blade.
Roger Daltrey, which the Who's in there, but him as a solo artist, I guess he's not in there. Well, this kind of goes back to now Rogers. Now he was like, why isn't I guess when you're a part of a project, you want both the project and also but Niles was in there for his own production work and his own stuff, but Chic should have been there as well.
Oh yeah,
Spencer Davis Group. Obviously, I think Traffic is in there. Traffic and Steve Wynn. I think Steve is in there for sure, but this is just another spin of that. Derek and the Dominoes. Some of these just don't make any sense. These are just legendary. Rick Derringer, Devo. There's Devo.
Wow, Devo really deserves their flowers, man.
Yeah,
Dio too.
Ronnie James Dio too. Well, Devo performed on the SNL 50th concert thing. I don't know if you saw that. It was pretty cool.
I did not see. What did they play?
They did not play Whip It, and they did not play No Satisfaction.
Okay.
What was the songs they played? I can't even remember what they played.
I'll go back and watch, man. But
Fred Armisen played drums with them.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so Fred Armisen sat in on drums. I don't know. Did their drummer pass away? I don't know whether the intimate details.
I don't know. I think if it's still Josh Freese, he was probably busy.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Brian Eno, Fabulous Thunderbirds.
Man, this is crazy.
Flaming Lips.
No,
Focus.
man.
John Fogerty.
He built the institution almost with his own hands and bad haircut.
CCR is in the mix, though. I think.
Yeah. Still, man.
Foghat, Free, Ace Frehley. Again, Kiss is in there, but Ace is a solo artist. Jay Giles Band. How was the Jay Giles Band not in there?
It's an American classic. Yeah.
David Gilmour. Again, Pink Floyd's in there. David's not. I mean, some of these are like,
I got you. Yeah.
Artists that step out on their own, whatever. Golden Earring, Radar Love.
That's pretty hardcore too. Yeah.
Twilight Zone.
Yes.
Grand Funk Railroad.
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
We're an American band. Grand Funk Railroad's not in there. The Guess Who.
Wow. Again, they might have a thing against Canadians.
Yeah, Sammy Hagar.
Speaking of Canadians. That's two.
Yeah, Hawkwind. I'm not really familiar with Hawkwind.
I've heard of them, but I think they're a country band.
Oh, it's just a Ginger Baker's project.
Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah.
Don Henley, of course. We just got done talking about him.
Yeah, that's insane.
Whole.
Also, really for real?
Humble Pie, Billy Idol. Well, that might get resolved this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In Excess. Come on.
Wow, that's a big one. That's a big omission.
Iron Butterfly, Iron Maiden, James Gang. There we just talked about Jane's Addiction. Jethro Tull.
Jethro.
Jethro Tull has been eligible since 1994. How do you Aqualung into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I mean,
That's what I'm saying. Some of these people have there's an agenda to consider. Some people are like, you will never be in the, they use people involved in the dais or whatever they call it. They act out their rock and roll vendettas by keeping certain people out. Like I will never suggest you for, they do that, man. I've heard that.
Yeah, I have heard there was a specific story of a specific artist that just came up. It was just like something that was, and it was somebody that just got inducted that I guess overcame whatever that obstacle was.
Yeah, some people are trying to make examples out of some of these people.
King Crimson, Korn.
Come on, man.
Lenny Kravitz. I love Lenny. I think the second that he comes up in nomination, he's got to be. I mean, he's been eligible for nomination since I don't know. It's been a while. He's been eligible since 2015, so he's been eligible for 10 years.
Okay,
but Cyndi Lauper, there she goes.
Lauper. That's crazy. And Lennox also. Come on, and the Eurythmics. I mean,
right? I think the Eurythmics weren't they in like a few years ago?
Probably.
Huey Lewis, The News. Come on,
that's a lot of hits. That's a lot of memorable music.
Living Color. Come on now.
Yeah. Man.
Just stop. That's ridiculous. Love. I'm not really familiar with Love.
I've heard of them. I don't remember much about it.
Manfred Mann's Earth Band.
Blinded by the light.
Wrapped up like a douche.
Yeah. Like, what did he say?
He's saying they keep saying he's saying deuce, but every time I hear the song, I hear him go douche.
Yeah.
It's
one of those rock and roll things. Well, maybe like what's his name, Billy Joel, and he over enunciates like a moving out.
Moving out. Yeah, electric boobs. Marshall Tucker Band.
Yeah, all right.
Meatloaf. I thought
come on now. Yeah.
Meatloaf, come on. Megadeth. There was another one you mentioned.
Yeah, the Big Four. Everybody in the Big Four ought to already be in there, man. I mean, why be the Big Four?
The Meters. Come on now.
That is insanity.
That's insanity. Molly Hatchet, just for their album. They should be in there just for their album covers alone.
They had some different stuff, man. Yeah.
The Monkees. Come on.
Wow.
That doesn't even make any sense. It's just
that's not cool.
There's vendettas happening here. Montrose, Motley Crue. Wait a minute.
No, somebody upset somebody there. Everybody in that band is a troublemaker. I'm sure something happened. Tommy Lee did something. Vince Neil did something. And they're like, you will never be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Some dude probably put that on them.
But just seeing Motley Crue, it doesn't make any sense. They've been eligible since 2007. Motorhead, come on, Motorhead. Mott the Hoople, Ian Hunter, Mountain, Nazareth, New York Dolls,
Night Ranger. Insane to me, man. Night Ranger, Harry Nielsen,
I mean, Oasis. That's either nominated.
The
Outlaws, Pantera. There was a Pantera. You mentioned
another one of the Big Four. Yeah.
Pixie, Robert Plant. I mean, obviously Zeppelin's in there, but again, this is that solo thing that we're talking about. Okay, do they need to be recognized as a solo artist? Yeah, I think so. Poison. That's a good band.
If you had hits as a solo artist, you deserve it.
Iggy Pop. Come on now. Just he is rock and roll.
Oh yes.
Completely rock and roll.
100%.
Queens of the Stone Age, Rainbow.
Wow.
Ram Jam, the Raspberries, REO Speedwagon.
That's big, man.
See this, I guess David Lee.
Roll back up. Did I see the Replacements?
The Replacements. Yep.
Okay. Wow. That's really funny.
David Lee Roth, obviously Van Halen's in there, but David's not. Joe Satriani, come on.
He's done the work.
Scorpions.
Wow.
This is ridiculous.
That's big. Yeah.
Slade.
That's big too.
Slayer's big. Sleater Kinney, okay, I can appreciate that, but yeah, I don't see these as like, wow, those are massive snubs.
I'm not really familiar with them, but the
Yeah,
Smashing Pumpkins, everybody
Smash.
knows that. Just 1979 alone, man, that song will live on forever. No matter when you put that song on, some songs are like that, like they never grow old. You know
Yeah.
what? I was on a gig with Soul Asylum, maybe like a month after Prince died, somewhere down south. And I got on stage to like kind of get my in ears and my mix together, and I heard the DJ. They right before we started the show, he dropped "I Would Die for You," and I was transformed, man. I never heard that song that way before. Like, I mean, obviously considering the circumstances and where I happened to be, and it was just like it was a weird thing, man. It was like there was a sort of indescribable joy mixed with sadness, man.
Mm.
Like I recognized the power of that song in that moment because it's so simple. I mean, it's embarrassingly simple as a song, you know. Like Prince had to be really brave sometimes and just sort of just stand, without any of the accompaniments. You know what I mean? Like some of his songs are kind of direct.
Well,
Like,
it also depended on the song structure itself because it's a lot of songs that are very, very sparse, but it's like, when you go to, if you're going to do a revision of it or a version of it, what would it like? For instance, Kiss is a very basic song,
oh sure, mm-hmm.
but if you were going to do a recreation of it, I mean, there's 100 directions that you could go, but I think people are so nervous about, touching things that are, classics. It's like you can't do too much with it or else you're going to upset a lot of people,
Yeah, I mean, listen, I say this with pride. There was a period after Prince fired us where I had to kind of take whatever job I could get. You know how many corporate gigs I was on with some corporate cover band playing Kiss, and just going, wow, it's come to this. I used to play this song in stadiums. Like in the end, it's the same ministry, it's the same anointing, man. But the problem was nobody ever played it right. So
it's Smashing Pumpkins, Sonic Youth, Soundgarden. Well, maybe it might get remedied this year.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Come on, man. Billy Squire, The Stroke.
Yeah, I think ever since that Rock Me Tonight video, I think that was what did him in.
When everybody saw his bad dancing.
it was a little bit much. It was much. It was a lot.
Yeah, listen, you know what though? What I liked about Billy Squire was he sounded like he picked up where Led Zeppelin left off.
Yeah, he's a monster, man.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, even like the drummer in that band, I can't remember his name, but he sounded like John Bonham. I mean, the tones on "Don't Say No," the album, it sounds like a Led Zeppelin record to me.
Yeah, and Stroke is like some hard drumming. It's like,
oh man, no, that dude was incredible, man. I think I saw them once live. I saw them once live, and they came through Minneapolis.
Oh, yeah, I've never.
Man, no, Billy Squire. When he came out, I remember somebody saying that guy used to be known as the worst guitar player in Los Angeles. I said, how come they didn't know he could sing like that or write like that? You know,
well, they learned.
Yeah. Don't play in Billy Squire's face now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Steelers Wheel, Jerry Rafferty.
Come on, man. Jerry Rafferty alone, just for Baker Street. Yes.
And
just for Baker Street.
Stuck in the middle with you.
Either one, man. Both. Yes.
Oh, Right Down the Line, too. I forgot he did that one. Right down.
He was a real one. He was a real one, man. Yeah.
My God, man. Steppenwolf?
What? That's the definition of what we're talking about.
We're to be wild. I mean,
that's a cultural.
Yeah. Come on. Who else is on this list? Stephen Stills. Obviously, we already net description. Sting. Come on. That doesn't even make any sense.
Not at all.
Sting. That he's a legend. Yeah. Yes, he obviously was inducted as part of the Police, but Sting by himself definitely. And same with Phil Collins. He's definitely, you proved yourself.
Yeah. He proved he can do whatever he wants to do, and you can't whoop Sting. I mean, you might not like him, but he's going to keep on doing Sting, and somebody is going to.
Stone Temple Pilots.
That's not cool.
Stray Cats.
That's not cool either.
Yeah, that's not cool either. I mean, Brian Setzer is a legend. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just not even Sticks.
I love your double take, man. You're funny, dude. Sticks.
How? Because it doesn't make any sense. It's like some of these are like the second they are up for nomination, it's like a given. You know?
Exactly.
It's
Exactly. The Grand Illusion, just that record alone, man.
oh
I
my God.
remember Sonny hadn't heard Sticks, and I sat at this piano in this in the lobby of an Italian hotel that we used to stay at when we were working over there with this singer named Georgia, who's like the Italian Whitney Houston. We would be in the hotel late at night, and we'd be talking about different records and stuff. And I was like, Sonny, that kind of sounds like "Fooling Yourself" by Sticks. He's like, who's that? I said, man. And I sat down and I just kind of started showing Sonny all these Stick songs in this lobby at like 2:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And yeah, and he was like, wow, they sound cold, you know? Sonny.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's a music sublime. I could see that. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they're on that left to center thing that we keep talking about with like the
Uh-huh.
Sleater Kenny's and the band.
Also, their main dude died. So it's like, it's hard to.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
They're still touring. Who's
I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know who's in their place because
Sublime is big business.
all those stoner festivals where it's just
Mhm.
like wherever it's legal, right? Supertramp, come on.
Yeah, some of these are just like
Breakfast in
givens.
America, Breakfast in America was like a legendary album. I mean,
So clearly, what we've just, I'll interrupt at this point to say, so clearly what we've discovered is that it ain't no rhyme or reason. It doesn't really have to do with whether or not they're known, or you can pinpoint their contribution. The gatekeepers have their own reasons for who gets kept out. Because some of these, a lot of these don't make no sense.
Toto doesn't make any sense. I just scrolled past a bunch that didn't make any sense.
Rosanna, Africa,
Toto, Three Dog Night, 38 Thin Lizzy.
Crazy.
I mean,
no, man, no, that's all ridiculous.
It's all ridiculous. I can't even.
Let's move on, man, because now I'm starting to get mad. I'm getting upset. Like, how could they do that?
It's upsetting.
Oh man.
And I think so. Who was it? What's his name? The guitarist for Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. I think when they were inducted, he wore a T-shirt that had all the names of the bands that he felt were like it was a travesty that they weren't in there. It was just like
that's why I like that dude, man, because he really fights for his he's really fights for artistry and he has a sense of justice, when it comes to like who's getting what in the music world, Yeah,
and there's some that I know that you probably like. Some of the ones that I are eligible to that I feel like should be on there that weren't even on that list are just ones I kind of feel like were more important to me. XTC, which we continually talk about. Thomas Dolby.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
The Fix. The Fix is
no
more
doubt, man.
But the Fix is ruthless, man.
Let me say one thing about the Fix that probably a lot of people don't know, which is Private Dancer by Tina Turner.
Yep. Jamie West Orm, and
that's the rhythm section of the Fix playing on that whole record.
Yep.
Like that, Roger Davies must have said, like, listen, let's just hire that, like their sound is hot. I have a vision that their sound is going to work with your sound, and just hired them to play on the entire record, basically. I mean, that's why Private Dancer sounds like a Fix record. Kinda.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's got the same. Yeah, Jamie West Orm, because he had that really distinct rhythm pattern with the way he plays guitar. But I've always been a huge fan. They were like one of the Funkatopians know this about me, that I'm a obsessive Fix fan. I have like it's just because they're just one of these underappreciated bands, very similar to XTC, and that it's just got such a wealth of amazing, really strong, solid material. And they just don't get recognized. Another band like that, King's X.
Oh, come on, man. Now I'm really starting to feel it. Because I met Doug Pinnick for the first time at the last gig that Soul Asylum played before the pandemic. before before everything got shut down. We played at the Terragram Ballroom in Los Angeles, and it was sold out. Doug Pinnick came walking through the back door, and I was just like, dude, you don't know how long I've been waiting to meet you, man. The dude's like 70 years old and he's ripped. He looks like he's like 45, man. Maybe. Doug Pinnick, man. I mean, the whole band, yes.
The first time I met Doug, yeah, the whole band. I mean,
so cold, man.
Ty Tabor is a monster. If you've ever, all I gotta tell you guys, if you ever get a chance to listen to Faith Hope, just pick up the album Faith Hope Love. They've got better albums than that, but Faith Hope Love, and just turn on the song Moan Jam for the most splitting, unfathomable guitar solo from Ty Tabor that you're ever going to hear on the planet. It's like, still to this day, if that song happens to come on in my CD thing, I will stop and I will shut the blinds and I will air guitar that friggin' song to this day.
Here's what's bizarre, man. I remember when King's X came out, and also this dude named who was the guy that he had a record out called Drums Along the Mohawk. Somebody Bouvier, John something.
Yeah, that's right.
I used to think, I was like, well, wait a minute. I thought that guy was Doug.
He had that same.
He had a mohawk
style,
and,
yeah.
And he was a bass player.
Yeah. But because they came out with the first song I think where people recognize them was music. I hear music over my head.
Yeah, what an incredible voice, man.
Yeah. But obviously his voice has taken a toll over the years, and he's kind of been doing a lot of low register songs. He doesn't really do a lot of those songs now. I just saw them recently, like last year.
Okay, yeah.
But he's got a brand new album out that just came out. He was working with Ted Nugent, and Doug Pinnick was working with Ted Nugent, and but he's got it. And I ordered it and I got it signed. Doug signed it. But the first
I didn't think Ted Nugent liked us. That's interesting to me.
Yeah, he's a rocker. So I mean, you gotta appreciate.
Well, yeah. I mean, if even Ted's into you, then you're doing something right. So I guess I'll look at it like that.
But when Doug went to shake my hand, his hand,
engulfed your hand. Yes, that dude's got. Yeah, he's got a big grip. Yeah, he's got a big grip.
Yeah, so King's X is another one of those, and as I mentioned, Jamiroquai also, and Living Color. I mean, it's just, those types of bands are just. I don't really think is Bad Brains in. I think that they should.
I think they might be, actually.
I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't.
Well, look at it. After what we just witnessed and read down. Yeah, of course. I'd be surprised if they didn't give Ray Charles his flowers yet. My goodness.
All right, so let's move on to this other topic here of Record Store Day.
All right.
So, have you seen the list of the Record Store Day? First off, there's not a whole bunch there. I think I may actually have. I do. I probably have the thing. I'm going to make this big enough so it can actually be seen here. But some of these lists of these artists that are appearing, it seems like there's a lot of greatest hits and reissues of a lot of albums. Something you may be interested in. I don't know if you're aware of this, or if you are, maybe you have some details about what we can expect. But there is one release from Prince on Record Store Day, and it is live at the Glam Slam. So do you have any idea what this is going to look like, or this is news to you too?
I'm presuming that it's, are they releasing a separate audio?
Well,
is it the audio from the box set, or they are offering it separate?
Let me pull it up here. I think it's in chronological order. I'm sure it is. Let me go to Prince here. Oh, Anderson .Paak is he's releasing a single. Sly and the Family Stone, the First Family, live at Winchester Cathedral, 1967. That'll be interesting.
Whoa. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, there's gonna be some cool ones. There are some cool. And have you seen the new Sly Lives documentary yet?
I saw it.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty good.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty good. I agree. And I don't want to jump all over, bruh,
Yes.
but I think that, I can't decide if the fact that I thought it was too short was a good thing or not. It's like I think I could probably watch a documentary all day about Sly if I was given the opportunity. But I'll say this: Quest has the access and he knows what to get.
Yeah, and that was my biggest takeaway with him as far as the documentarian is his level of access seems to be
That's what it is. That's
unfettered.
mhm. Yeah.
It's like you apparently can get to anybody. I agree, it was too short. Now, what I yeah, I think it could have been twice as long because as I was watching it, I was texting Dawn Silva uh, from Brides of Funkenstein, and I was like, "Hey, I see you," because she was only in there like a quick clip when they showed him in the studio, and she was kind of walking by, and I was just like, but there was a whole bunch to the Sly story that you just like totally did not pay attention to.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really. I'll tell you one thing: the fact that David Kapralik robbed Sly blind, man.
Yeah, well, I'll take this down while we're talking about this. Go ahead. Well, yeah, and I also was paying attention to when as Questlove was doing this documentary, I was thinking, okay, let me kind of get a vibe as to how he would approach a Prince documentary. Obviously, we're talking a much longer thing where we can kind of expand on a lot of different things, but
Sure.
I'm like, how much is he focusing on the negative? How much is he focusing on the drug use, all that other stuff? And it was focused on a lot in this documentary, a lot. And
yes,
but also I guess the difference with Sly and Prince is that with Sly, his drug use and his, incoherency and a lot of the different things was very, very public. I mean, he would, just doing all these interviews high and
yeah. You see the runny nose on like the Mike Douglas show,
right. I mean, he was like publicly a mess. Now with Prince,
he was very quiet about it. Yeah.
Yeah, with Prince, there was a drug problem there, but it was very private. You didn't see it.
Yeah, and from what I understand, it wasn't like he was taking painkillers. It wasn't for pleasure. It was
Exactly. Yeah.
real pain.
Yeah. So it was yeah. So it was different side of it. But
what I understand, but yeah.
Would it have been covered in that way? Would it have been,
Oh.
so it's just
Hold on. Are you saying what if Prince's the documentary for Prince was to cover that aspect of his? Are you asking how they would handle it, or how Quest might handle it if he was to do a Prince doc?
Right. Yeah. Would it be like I saw the TMZ? I don't know. For those who have Roku TVs, when you start up a Roku TV, it always comes up with this menu, and there's like specials and TV shows and documentaries that are specifically on Roku. Like Kevin Hart has 2 movies on Roku that aren't attached to any. It's like weird, but TMZ did a cover of Prince, did a documentary. I can't remember what it was called, but they kept saying in this documentary, drug abuse and addicted. It's like really using all these hard terms that are just like, okay, time out.
Yeah, people think that other people don't pay attention to syntax, to their choice of words, and read. Yeah, some people know how to read between the lines. I see what you're trying to do here.
Yeah. So, and that was my concern. Is just like, obviously, I'm glad that the estate is kind of getting, and I understand people's push against this. I know we're getting into the Prince documentary territory.
I don't mind, man, because there's still more to say about it.
Okay, I think so too. I'm glad that the estate is doing it. I know that people are a little bit upset because of the fact that they're concerned this is going to end up being like a long puff piece. Yeah. And I get that. But again, I think as fans, we just want the music.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with a fluff piece? I don't care.
Okay. They're going to show things that we haven't seen before. You're going to see behind the scenes stuff that we haven't seen before. You're going to hear music we haven't heard before.
The goal is access. You're absolutely right. The goal is just let's see it. What's all in there? I mean, just the fact that I live with the idea or with the reality that this dude recorded everything I did with him. Like, if we were rehearsing, if we were performing,
Yep.
In the studio, I mean, that's audio documentation. There's probably video cameras in there too that we just didn't see.
Right.
But so it's like there's so much of my life just kind of tucked away in that vault. I want to see some of that too. I mean, the Glam Slam thing was really a revelation to me because I was nervous about watching it, and because the band had only been together for a little while, like we hadn't really been gigging.
It didn't look like it.
No, it didn't, did it?
It didn't look like it. Yeah. And Joni's like, please talk about the doc. I missed the live show last week and wanting to catch up. I was screaming. Yeah.
What is there to say, really? I mean, it's just for me, I side with the estate because one thing I learned in my first marriage, communication is irreversible. Okay. Now, you can sit and ponder and think about it in your head. You know how it is being a married man.
Yes.
You have to really think about what you say before you spit it out there.
Okay.
Because you don't know how your spouse is gonna, you know what I mean? It's like you don't always know how a woman is gonna respond to what you got on your mind.
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll just get shrugged off, and other times it will change the direction of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm thinking. It's like, you know what? They don't, it's like, it's not a thing that you can enter into frivolously because they may change the entire trajectory of what it is they're working on by doing so. It could be great, but it also could be really, detrimental. There's a risk involved and they don't want to take it. And it's their prerogative to not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think people, let's just put it this way. There's been people that we've had. Oh, we'll just go ahead and say it. I love her to death, and she knows it.
Oh, you're gonna name names? Okay.
I'm gonna name names. I know that Jill Jones is very upset that the documentary didn't come out, and I feel like, and if you visit her socials, you'll see that she did really speak her piece. You kind of felt like that their stories aren't relevant. Their stories as they relate to Prince aren't relevant, and that they're being discounted and that they're not being, I said it last week. And basically what I said was it's that this is a Prince documentary. This is his story. It's kind of not your story to tell, but on the same note, I see where she's coming from because she feels like, this kind of goes, my interactions with him and my experiences with him and everything that I went through with him matter because it helped kind of shape this part, or it kind of helped shape this part. It's part of the overall story, just like you are part of the overall story. And they kind of feel like, some of the things that are a little bit maybe darker or, kind of sway negative.
Sure.
Are just being removed. Like that doesn't matter. And I think that's the overall feeling.
Well, okay. Well, two very important points. If you want to do a documentary about yourself, then do that. You don't have to do that on Prince's estate's dime. You can still tell your story, but they have no responsibility to make access for your viewpoint. I mean, it's not really about her. It's about Prince. I mean, I would say that about any of us. He is the subject. So, we are ancillary. That might be offensive. I don't want to say ancillary, but it's about, I mean, she may have inputted, she may have put things, she may have been a source of something for Prince, but what he did with it is really the subject. We all contributed to Prince's life in some way, shape, or form, but he still is the study. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he still had to synthesize the data that came out of Jill Jones as a person being around him. Mm-hmm. Like it had an effect on his trajectory as a human. That is still reflected in his work, I'm sure. So what I'm saying is this: I'm sorry, I'm all sorts of sayings today. what's understood doesn't need to be said. You know what I mean?
Right. Things
It's
unsaid,
like,
just
this
basically.
is
Yeah.
not about her validation or her vindication.
Well, and I think the other portion of this too, though, let's look at this way too. To have the vehicle of the Prince documentary to be able to tell your story. If you do your own autobiography, you don't have that publicity, you don't have that ability for more people to be able to kind of see your story. But again, just like you said, it's not your story.
Yeah.
And that's the root of it. And that's definitely the way that the estate sees it,
Yeah,
because
none of our names are on the marquee. We're bit players, you know, and how much influence we had on Prince is for Prince to say, and he ain't here to say.
right. Yeah.
So I mean, while she might have a salient point, the facts are the facts, and facts are not feelings.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And I mean, I think when you were on the show, I think it was last year when you were on the show, you were mentioning the fact that, you didn't, not like late last year, but you had mentioned that you just got a feeling that this was going to be one of these, the way they were asking questions, that it was going to be like a hit piece, and you kind of stepped away from it.
After John Bream, I talked to John Bream before. I can say it now because he's declared it in public that they billed him for that 6 hours. I did an interview with him for something else, and he and I just went off record and started talking about that and just a myriad of things. Like, he's like, I really felt like they were trying to get him. They were out to get him. They were trying to get me to say negative things about Prince. I think they were really hoping for it because, clearly, there was a certain amount of animosity between, Prince and critics, which is why he didn't like to talk to them very often.
Right. Yeah.
And but John, because he was a local and he has John's bona fide, he's got clout. He's a real one, but for him, who has said things, not negative things necessarily, but whatever, he spoke his mind his entire career about Prince. And but there's no need for him to, I think anybody so interested in Prince is also a fan. He wasn't doing it to hurt Prince. He was doing it to offer constructive criticism. And Prince was like, I don't need it. Thank you, but no thanks.
Didn't he shoot him? Didn't he Prince shoot him in the face with the guitar from Purple Rain with the
I'm sure all those things happened. One of them I witnessed to a certain degree. He was at the Glam Slam one night, and Prince had his security throw him out. And he asked Prince, he said, why can't I stay? And he said, because I don't want to read another review about Graffiti Bridge next week in the newspaper. So, I mean, they had a relationship,
Oh my gosh.
They really did. It was more than, he was more than just a critic. I mean, it was, I mean, if Prince didn't care about what he had to say, he wouldn't have read his column.
and I did find it interesting. That, when you said that, I don't know if your line of questioning that you received was different than what they received, but I do find it interesting that with your line of questioning, you were like, no, this is obviously a hit piece, but those other people that were interviewed were like, all right, sweet, yeah, I'm all in. Let's,
Yeah, some people may have had a good reason to move forward in that respect, and it's like, none of us are good all the time. We certainly have, stories we could share that are, and I try to be real. I don't try to hold back too much, but I'm also not trying. I'm not making an effort to portray Prince in a certain kind of way. Just the truth of what I saw in him,
Yeah. So what was Joni say here? Joni said, the people who claim to love Prince the most, which includes his fans, have the responsibility to preserve his legacy, not Netflix subscribers.
Yes.
He does not need to be the next Tiger King sensation to come and go.
I will say, is Joni a regular attendant?
Yes, she's normally here. She's
very bright. She's astute. I've been checking her comments out as we've been going. And
this is that's just the reality of it. I did pull up the let's go back to the screen because I did want to look at this release that's going to be happening. And I don't know if this is, well, I know that this is part of the Diamonds and Pearls collection, but I don't know how. Okay, anyways, Live at the Glam Slam. If you click on it says it's a 3 LP. This is we're going back to the Record Store Day
On
conversation.
vinyl, yeah, okay.
And it's going to be on vinyl, and it is going to be released on April 12th, 2025. Obviously, it's the there's going to be 4,000 of them made. And let me see if I can scroll this down a little bit. And it says it's mixed from the 24-track master. The performance clocks in at just over 100 minutes of sweaty, groove-laden brilliance. It's going to be housed in a gorgeous triple gatefold, the 3 LPs on yellow 140-gram vinyl.
Yes. That
Contains
sounds hot.
5 sides of music and an etching of the cover of Diamonds and Pearls on side 6.
Okay.
Side 1 is basically the show, Thunder, Daddy Pop, Diamonds and Pearls. Side 2 continues Willing and Able, Jughead, Sacrifice the Victor. Side 3, Nothing Compares to You, Thieves in the Temple, and Sexy MF. Side 4, Insatiable, Cream, the little medley, the Cream, Well Done, I Want You, In the Sock. Side 5 is 1999, Baby I'm a Star, Push Medley, Get Off, and then Get Off House Style.
Oh, yes.
And then the side 6 is the etching of the Diamonds and Pearls cover.
I mean, it's hot, man. I mean, I have to say, and I don't mean to be so. I guess I'm getting less. I'm showing less fake modesty as I get older. I'm just saying what it is. Like, I think it's an incredible testament to a band that was just getting started.
Yeah, well, that man just continues to move, though, man. He's always changing, always moving.
Yeah,
but, yeah. So that's the only release from Prince. So I think a lot of people may have been a little bit disappointed, because if this whole process with Netflix and freeing up some of this material that was tied up in the vault is now free, I think people may have been expecting a little bit more on the Record Store Day release, because if you knew this day was coming, it seemed like you would have had something in the can ready to go. But I guess
I think they've probably been embroiled in this, this battle. They probably didn't know what they could do except for that, considering it came out. The plans to do this, to do the Diamonds and Pearls box set, probably predate the agreement with Netflix, is what I would imagine.
Yeah, it could. Well, you could be right. You could be right.
Then they probably had, the clearance to continue to use the audio and whatever, content from it, I suppose, Yeah,
there's a lot of good stuff on here.
Yeah.
Sting's got a new one. The Jamaican episode from Snoop Dogg is going to be released on LP. I don't know exactly. Soul Asylum's on here.
Oh, that's right. I was going to say we were. I know the management got at me about something we were going to drop. What does it say?
It says After the Flood, live from the Grand Forks.
Yes. That's a gig that Soul Asylum played at a high school in Grand Forks. They experienced a real flood that year, and but so they did the prom. They did the prom a little later after at a different. I think. You know what? I can't remember the entire story, but that came out a few years ago. It was just laying around in Dave Perner's attic or something. I was like, well, what's that? Oh, I don't know why we recorded this gig. That gig's incredible. And so it was like the Lost Scrolls or something. And
are you on this album?
No, that's Sterling.
Sterling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Soul Asylum's going to be on there. So they've got
Sterling was. I think it's probably Sterling. That's 97. That was probably the last thing he did before he quit and went to work for David Bowie.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
We want to talk about David Bowie, man. That's a whole other thing. Somebody said hadn't thought about it. Spike Lee or Antoine Fuqua to direct the documentary. I really actually wouldn't mind that.
No, I wouldn't either. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't mind James Gunn doing it. I'm just kind of like, let's get this let's get it over with.
Mark Webb, what's going on, Webb? Mark Webster's a true gangster, man. I love you with my whole heart, Mark Webster, because you tell the truth, man. Webb is, man, we're homies, man.
Yeah, that's that was Lisa's comment to Spike Lee.
I think those are both outstanding choices. I mean,
yeah. Let's see what else happened here. All right, here's a couple of just weird videos. So we're gonna move on to just a couple quick loose topics, and then I want to talk about a couple things that you have.
Okay, that's cool, man. I mean, you you the man, you the one who's been sitting here already for
Yeah, man. I'm good.
okay.
So I always catch these videos that always crack me up, and they're just kind of just random. I love the ones where you don't see it coming. That's kind of one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of like certain comedians that kind of will take you down, and you think it's going to have one punchline and it has another. Those kind of things are funny to me. For instance, there is a guy who does a cooking show, and he just kind of randomly talks, and some of the things that he says are just like, wait, what did you just say? This is a guy who is when you make spaghetti and it's too big for the pot, do you just put the spaghetti in and then let it kind of fall into the pot, or do you break it and put it in the pot?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. I mean,
well, first off, I don't cook, but with the times I have made pasta, I break it.
Yeah. I don't see a big deal about it, but apparently when you break it, it upsets a lot of real chefs. Like I've seen Gordon Ramsay lose his mind when he's seen somebody make, pasta that's hard or whatever. He's like, why are you breaking it? Why are you breaking pasta? It's like, okay. This guy is showing how to make pasta without breaking it and exactly the process. But he goes off on a tangent. And it's just like, what did you just say? Let's watch this real quick.
Sometimes you got to help it along a little bit, and you always want to keep track of which side was sticking out, because at the end we're going to compensate. I remember when I was a kid growing up, my friend Justin and I wanted to make a roller coaster, so we started saving money by putting our lunch money in a shoebox. And after about 6 months, we had a couple $100 in there, but it turns out that my friend Justin's sister's boyfriend had found the shoebox, and he stole the money to pay for an abortion. Okay, this is looking just about ready. So the first end to go in has already been cooking for 12 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take that.
Okay, I just got to stop. Wait a second. What did you just say?
Wow, man.
What did you just say?
I didn't say nothing.
No, I'm just talking about that guy.
Oh, him. Oh, man. Yeah, I was stunned. I'm like, what? Where is he going with this?
And then he just bails on the story. It's
because he realized he was free associating. He was, oh, wait a minute. I'm about to tell where the body's at. Hold on.
You can't just say that and then move on.
No, man. Yeah, no, he's about to turn state's evidence on himself.
Oh, and then the other thing I saw was this guy happened to be in a toy store, and he's located this thing, I guess, that's made by a reputable company. I can't remember who it is. It's not. It is a legit toy, and he's talking about it like it's just a great toy, not thinking about. Just let me just watch this and see what your reaction is.
Okay.
To be a young child.
You're jiving, man. That can't be real. That can't be real.
I'm like, it's an ankle monitor for kids.
Listen, man, when I was like probably 5 or 6, maybe I was about 5 or 6. I was over at I lived across the street from a park, and I remember seeing some kid. His parents had one of those like a truss on him, and like and like a leash. And I was like, wow. And that's the thing. And I'm telling you, man. And my thought in my mind at the time was like, wow, this is how white people treat their kids. Like, white people must be different, man. Like, that's
it's that's okay. I have seen. Yeah, there's one time I saw a white lady. She had triplets, and they're boys, and they were bouncing off the walls, and she had them on leashes. And I was like, with those kids, I can kind of see and get it. But and it's also when you're in a busy place like Six Flags or something, where a kid sees something, it's like, ooh, sparkly, and then they're off.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and you're like, oh, where's my kid? So I kind of understand it, but I also understand what you're saying too. It's like, look,
if that's the measure you have to go to keep your kid under control, something is wrong with your parenting technique.
Yeah,
the answer is not a leash. Can we agree on that?
Or an ankle monitor.
Teaching little Jimmy to
I
don't know, to
get used to
respond to shock treatment. Yeah. I mean, what are you setting up a kid up for? What are you setting a child up for if you're already putting an ankle monitor on them? You're setting them up to be a part of the system.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted to ask you about this because you've been on the show a couple of times. You didn't talk about this. Let's talk about this tribute to Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh man, there's only a few seats left for both nights at this point. My business manager and booking agent, Stu Pastor, Stuart H. Pastor, and associates. Stu and I've known Stu since I was 15. He's Patty Peterson's husband, and he's also I believe he's related to the Rifkins, to David and Bobby. But he's the one that booked us at the Chanhassen Dinner Theater, and I've never played there before, or if I did, it was many years ago. And I was like, well, how is it? He's like, oh, they'll love it, man. Let's just give them the Earth, Wind, and Fire tribute. And I said, okay, well, I'll follow your lead, Stu. And today we looked at like the seating arrangement. Almost all the tickets are gone. It's that place holds, I can't even remember what the capacity is, but it's like there's only a few seats in the back row, and a couple singles here and there for both nights. I'm just, I'm elated that at least the first time we go there with this, that it's going to be a sold out show. So.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So for those who are listening on audio on Spotify or iHeartRadio, it is tribute to Earth, Wind, and Fire happening at the Chanhassen Dinner Theater in Chanhassen, Minnesota. For those
under the musical direction of Michael Bland.
Yeah, that's what it said.
That sounds pretty good to me. My band is called Urban Classic, and we play just as good as we want, Mr. Christopher. And
yeah.
Somebody at the last one, somebody said, "Man, y'all sound better than Earth, Wind, and Fire." Man, I just saw them at the county fair. Y'all sound better than them.
So if anybody's up in that area and you want to try to grab one of these last remaining seats, it's just going to be 2 nights, February 28th and March 1st.
Yes.
And you got Tommy Barbarella, yourself on drums. You obviously got UC horns there as well, G Sharp and all that. And JB, I mean,
Mark Lichtai and them. Yeah.
That's going to be a show.
The band's hot, man. I mean, we've been doing this now for a couple of years, so we've got it pretty tightened up,
And of course, we've been talking about this show.
Oh, this show,
the Together show.
I'm telling you, a third of the tickets are already gone, and we only started. I mean, it was just a few days ago.
Yep, that's right. It
was the 11th. We put the show on sale. So it's been a week, and probably there's like 300. I mean, the place only holds 700 people, and this is just February.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
So it's going to be sold out.
Yeah, I still got to get my ticket.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay. All right.
I'm relying on me knocking on the back door.
Listen, what I was going to say is that if it's a last minute thing, I'm going to make the dressing room pretty much all access. If you want to watch the show from the side of the stage, you just want to mill about, I can get you in the building. I just can't get you a seat.
Oh, it's all good. I just want to experience it. I just want to bring my camera too, and also get some photography of this stuff.
Yeah, it's a free for all, man. Take as many pictures as you want. I'm trying to circulate. I'm trying to build something here. So I'm welcoming all press, all pictures, all everything, man, because we're going to use it to propel this thing and move forward and out into the world, and remind people just how good Prince's music is supposed to sound.
That's right. And for those who are not familiar with what event we're talking about, have missed the last few shows, we've been talking about the show called Together. It's happening on April 19th. Obviously, this year, 2025. I don't know when you're watching this video, but it's a tribute to the music of Prince, and it features all former members of the original New Power generation, including Tommy Barbarella, Michael Bland, Levi Caesar Jr., Dr. Fink of the Revolution.
Yeah, we pulled Fink in for this one, yeah.
And Rick from Mint Condition, and then of course G Sharp,
Odell, both from Mint, guitar and bass,
Ashley Commodore and Urban Classic Horns. It's gonna be happening at the Hopkins Center for the Arts. I will be there. It's It's not. Yeah, it's just whether or not I'll be seated or whether I'll just be on the move like all the time.
Yeah. No, either way, I mean, there's a very good chance that something spectacular could happen that night. We still don't know for sure, but we may have a special guest that might be a game changer. We'll just have to see.
I already told you I was coming.
Okay, well then you'll see it. You'll be there. Some people won't.
Oh, I'm not what you're talking about. Okay.
Oh, man. Okay, see, very droll, man. You went over my head there.
Oh my God. Oh man, what a night. Obviously, thank you so much, Michael, for coming on. I know you got practice next week. I know I always invite you. The door is always open for the man, Michael.
Okay, well, much love to you, man. For it, I enjoy talking to you, man. There's a flexibility, like we can go in many different directions, and it doesn't get boring or bogged down. And you know how to conduct an interview, and a lot of people in your field do not. And I'll say honestly that a lot of people don't know how to keep it moving. They don't know how to. It's really in the questions you ask. Like, do they motivate a person to open up and respond? And so you have I don't know how long you've been doing this, but
it's a long time.
You've got it together, bro.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. I bought the domain Funkatopia.com in 2004, and I've been the website's been up since 2005. This is the 20th year of Funkatopia this year.
That's a commitment, man. That's all right, man. I mean, other than me, of course, who are some of your favorite people you've interviewed? Like what right now, if I was to ask you?
It's kind of interesting. I mean, there's some of the iconic interviews that I didn't expect. Like I mentioned Thomas Dolby before. When I was contacted by Thomas Dolby because he was releasing, and I wasn't big at that point, and he was releasing a new album. I can't remember the name of the album now. And he goes, "Can I come on the show and talk about it?" And I said, "I'm sorry, am I talking to Thomas Dolby, like She Blinded Me with Science, Europa and the Pirate Twins, Thomas Dolby? Is this what we're talking about?" It's like, yeah. I was just like, okay, well, absolutely, this will be fantastic. And then what ended up happening is it kind of spiraled into an 80s thing because then I interviewed Wang Chung, and it was like it just kind of just happened. And it ended up being this 80s thing. And these are all bands that I was, highly loved as a kid of the 80s and 70s and 80s more. But I think if I had to pick a favorite one, I would probably say one of my favorite interviews was one that I didn't really have to interview much. And it was Wally Safford and Damon Dixon. They came on the show and they hadn't seen each other or talked to each other in like over 20, it was 20 years, like a long time. Like these brothers had not talked in a long time. And they started going and started talking and sharing stories and just talking back and forth and just went off on this tangent. And literally all I had to do was just sit back and not say anything.
Yeah. And
just let them go down this rabbit hole of just memories. And it was just a really, really cool, it was just a really, really cool, amazing show. And of course, if I had to, pick one where I actually had to do something, I would say Jesse Johnson was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
this last one was a lot of fun because I actually felt like I had a little bit more control over the interview. The first time that he was on, he was telling, I think he was just getting it out of his system, and it was really hard to kind of stay on task. But both Jesse Johnson interviews were fantastic, but I've had so many over the years. Jamiroquai interviewing. I had all of Jamiroquai except for Jay, all of Jamiroquai.
Wow.
Interview. That was friggin' amazing, and Brand New Heavies. And it's just been a long period of time where I've just been able to interview so many great people, man.
Yeah. I guess 20 years, that's a lot to ask for if I'm asking. Yeah. Cause that's a lot of time to go back through, but somebody called me a suck up. And they said I thought I was the only one that sucks up to Chris. Like, well, yeah, well, okay, yes, I'm sucking up, but I'm also getting paid, Andre. So yeah.
Andre's a mess. He's up in I think he's up in Canada, but he's a mess. He's a troublemaker. You guys there?
I was there. I'm like, this dude, he likes to come around and poke a little bit, and I have to decide. It's like whether I'm going, legitimize his poking, by speaking on him. But yeah, he sounds like he's all right to me.
Yeah.
Now I'm sucking up to him.
Well, as always, man, it's been an amazing visit from you. Hope you have a good week. I may take the week off next week too. It feels like I didn't even.
Well, listen. I mean, yeah. If you want to, that's fine. I'll join the following. Well, get at me and let me know who's on the following week. If it makes sense for me to join you.
Oh yeah. Well, you got practice next week, so
next week, yes.
Following.
Yeah. But I'm saying like the week after. Like I don't know how early do you plan?
Oh, it just depends. Sometimes are weeks in advance, depending on what's happening. Other times, it ends up being last minute. But I always spend many hours, as you can tell by some of the prep work that kind of goes into putting the show together. It's many hours of doing the research and getting the images and finding what questions have already been asked, so that I'm not redundant, and just kind of digging a little bit deeper. Right. Sometimes I hear people do interviews, and it's just like the interviewee will say something that definitely deserves to be delved into deeper, and the interviewer just goes, it's like, well, are you even paying attention to what this person is saying?
Right. Yeah. Listening is important. Listening is very important.
Yeah. It's the I learned that more from, believe it or not, from Howard Stern.
I think he's strong. He's a strong interviewer.
Yeah. He listens, and he's just like, wait, now what did you just say? That type. Yeah. He's definitely, and he's obsessed with Prince.
Yeah, he seems to be, huh?
Yeah. It seems like every single artist that has ever crossed paths with Prince, he makes sure that he gets to that Prince story.
He wants to know that story, yeah, because the Prince stories are bizarre. It's like I hadn't thought about it before, but somebody said like Prince was like the David Blaine of rock and roll. Like he just appeared and vanished, like, and you know what? It was like that even at Paisley. It was like you just look up and he'd be there. It's like I didn't, sometimes you'd hear the boots, and other times you didn't.
I bet.
It's like I wouldn't be surprised if there's some like trap doors and sort of like movable, some secret entryways like through walls and whatnot in that building.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever feel comfortable ever saying anything negative or even slightly off kilter about him inside this park.
See, and here's the remarkable thing, man. And we'll close with this, because the only reason I know this is because Reverend Mike Scott told me this story. He said, man, I was in Prince's office, man. He was playing me a cassette. Y'all were somewhere in the building. Like the building was bugged. We were having a conversation and we were mad about something. And Mike Scott said Prince was playing the tape for him. And he's like, man, you guys were going in on Prince. And he was just laughing and laughing and laughing. And I was like, wow, man. He said, man, you guys were so funny. Because I mean, the four of us, there was a lot of pressure involved in that gig. And we didn't always understand, what Prince was where he was trying to go with things. And and also this is kind of probably around when it just got to be the four of us, like me and Morris, Tommy and Sonny, and then Prince and Maite, of course. So it's like when it got to be like this little group, it's like all the communication got really tight between us, and we all were pretty open, and there were good days and there were bad days, and on bad days, of course, you don't show it at work, but maybe if I mean, we didn't really know we were being surveilled, but the fact that Prince, that he never got mad enough to fire us just from what he heard, it's like, dude, you must have been born with skin like so thick, And the other thing is this: it's like, wow, what? I wonder how much of that candid criticism may have affected, how Prince saw himself. Maybe he corrected some things in his life, because when people are being honest, you can do two things: you can get mad about it, or you can listen and try to extract something from it.
Yeah,
so it's hard to say, man.
I'm like really bad. I know they tell you that if you ever put like videos on YouTube, or you ever to not read the comments. I read like all the comments, and sometimes I'll reply, but if something is like really negative on the guest, if something's negative on the guest, or it's just not nice thing to say, I'll delete it. I mean, it's just like, and I shouldn't. I know that I shouldn't, because I feel like maybe what they said that other people agree with too. But I feel like I would rather have a place where you can watch a video and just be able to see some positivity and kind of maintain that positivity,
Yeah,
instead of having somebody come in and throw a grenade and then disappear.
you're the curator. You have to decide.
Right. I just
You're the ultimate author of the content. So
you know,
I understand that, and I can appreciate it. Yeah, man. Because I mean, people are impulsive on social media. They operate from their feelings, and they're less likely to kind of check themselves and sit with it for a minute. Like they just, the keyboard warriors are always busy.
yeah. Well, there was one time I had you on the show. You were talking about how you guys used to pray before the show.
Uh-huh.
And you had mentioned that I had said, whenever Prince led the prayer, did he ever say anything off kilter? And you said something to the effect of, you had the conversation over like you were wondering if, Prince was going to say, "Oh, hail Satan" or whatever. Something along those lines. It was tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
I understood exactly where you were coming from.
But somebody didn't.
Oh yeah. No, somebody was like, "Oh, this is horrible. Prince doesn't worship Satan, blah, 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 blah." I was like, okay, time out. I completely understood where you were coming from, because we also have that similar background with, being Christians, that there was a period of time where you just didn't really understand where Prince was coming from, because while he was saying one thing, he was also saying things that were totally off the wall that really kind of made you back up and go, it really kind of question, where he was coming from. So it's like you're like never letting your guard down in that regard. And that's what you meant by that. It was just like you never knew what he was going to say, type of thing.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, he's admitted to himself that, some of his persona was acting, some of it was coming from a real place. His main thing was he wanted to make people question everything. He wanted to challenge what people thought.
Nothing safe.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, and that was the point, really. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. And anybody who's familiar with his material knows that Prince liked to play as much with the light as with the dark.
Yep.
And who knows, what was going on truly. Only he knows what was going on truly within him. And it's, I mean, I'm not saying that I thought the worst of Prince's spiritual life. I'm saying we all have challenges.
Yeah.
And Prince's challenges were not my challenges. And I got to know for myself, I'm praying to the God that I believe in, and that's not saying I'm not conflating or comparing. I'm just like, I know where I'm trying to stand with the creator. Yeah. That's Prince's business. Whatever he's doing, he doesn't have to account for it. I don't have to understand it. Your relationship with the creator is personal. So no matter who I'm praying with, I got blinders on.
Yeah, and you never knew. I mean, Eric Leeds said the same thing. I asked Eric Leeds about, what he felt about Prince's spirituality, and Eric was like, "It was all bull." I'm like, "What?"
Okay, well, hey,
he said, "I could tell you things that he said directly into my ear that would make your skin crawl." I was just like, "Okay, sure. All right."
But you know what? I can't say that. And that's because I had a different kind of relationship with Prince.
Right. Different time period. Right.
Different time period and a completely different relationship. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, I think he was a provocateur. Sometimes he would say things to see how people might respond.
Exactly. That's the perfect word. That's the perfect word for him, the provocateur.
Yeah. I mean, some of it was just like, okay, let's see what happens if I do this. If I take this away from this person, what'll happen? I mean, I think he was, he in his own way, he was conducting experiments on people, to be honest, to see what they would do. But I mean, if you come from a place, and I don't mean to get super deep, but if you come from a place, or if within your past, you never really could trust anybody, or, you never had a soft place to fall. As a person, you don't develop like regular mechanisms of dealing with people who are within your proximity. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And especially in his case.
Yes. So whatever he had to do to scratch that itch on the inside, he did it. It's like, I don't really think he was ever really trying to be mean. He just was misunderstood often and impatient And anybody who's passionate about what they're doing is going to get impatient, sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. And it's a good thing to kind of come around and tie a bow in it. Going back to the documentary, it's kind of understanding that aspect of it for the documentary's sake, but figuring out how to safely kind of navigate those waters. And if they're even going to do that, if they're even going to be like, you know what, we're not even going to talk about the provocative stuff. We're not even going to talk about the, we're just, it might be a 6-hour fluff piece.
It's sure. Okay. But, it's hard to judge if you haven't been in that position with that person. You know what I mean? Even me, I spent 7 straight years with him and recorded more with him than anybody as a sideman, as a player, but even still, it's like, it's all musicians have I think we probably talked about this last time I was on. There's a brokenness that we come into the world with, that God breaks us in a certain way for what he needs us to do in the world as musicians. I can't speak for everybody else, but I know that this is a commonality between, others, friends of mine, Dave Perner, for instance. I told him about this and he was like, I understand exactly what you're saying. Because you sometimes wonder, like, what is it that makes me try so hard to achieve? Because we're trying to prove something to somebody in the process, but for me, the brokenness gave me my life. There was a hole in me as long as I can remember. And I didn't realize that what music was there for was to fill it. And not only that, God had to break me so that I would try harder and reach a level of refinement where I can, magnify his name, give glory,
Right. Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's what a lot of people have to grasp in their life, is that if God has given you a skill, you're supposed to use it.
It's responsibility. Yeah. And that's what
Prince
did do.
Right.
Prince took it very seriously because he knew that he wasn't ordinary. He's a different type of dude. Like, those songs were pouring out of him. He had difficulties sometimes. I remember talking to Tanya, to T-Bird, his hairdresser, and she was like, man, Prince will just jump up sometimes. He'll be writing lyrics while I'm doing his hair. And sometimes he would jump out of the chair in frustration and just start cussing because he's looking for the right rhyme. He's searching for something, and she'd have to pull a hot comb and, oh Lord, I can't burn Prince. He'd get up, he'd be, openly upset, because he'd be working that hard to try to really get to it. Like, what am I saying here?
Right.
Distilling his inner, whatever he's channeling, into a way everybody else can understand it. That's serious business.
Yeah, because you cannot name one song where there is a syllable out of place in a Prince song.
That's right.
Not one. There is no wasted space on Prince's music. None.
Now the fact that he did it and could give, and didn't care whether you liked it or not. That's why he was so bold. He was trying to satisfy himself. He was scratching his own itch, man. And hope that somebody might, get into it. But it was okay if you didn't.
That's right.
He was really like that. Like, I don't know what they want. This is what I got.
Right. It's gonna be, yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to a brand new documentary but more.
I'll take that fluff piece. If it's got more footage, new footage in it, I'll take that fluff. Yeah.
We want the music though. That's what we want. We want the music.
Sure we do. We love music. That's what we want.
That's it. That's it. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it for the one, the only, Michael Bland, the man. And it's
shake my elbow fat for you there a little bit.
It's always an honor. It's always an honor to have you on the show, man. You are always full of verve and stories and memories, and you got the authority to tell them too. So it's awesome.
Well, I enjoy it here. I don't enjoy it everywhere, but we have fun, man. We got a report. We got a thing. We got love. We got love, man. It's all right.
All day long. Yeah, all day long, man. All right, brother. I'm gonna cut all of y'all loose. Thank you guys for hanging out for another long night. This is another 3.5 hour show.
Yeah.
It's just like, time just flies by. It's crazy to me how quickly It's just, it's unreal. It's
Well,
unreal.
when you're having fun, yeah, it goes quicker than you can.
Before I let you go, where can people, the Chanhassen Dinner Theater show can people, you said there's still a few tickets left. Can people,
Yeah, you'd have to go to their website. I mean, it's
it's Chanhassen Dinner Theater. And of course, we already set, I think we set up a link for this one too, didn't we? Was just,
we definitely set up a link for this because we've been talking about this for a hot minute.
Yeah, I think it was just together. It was Funkatopia.com/together, I think is what it was.
Yeah, there's still it's about half the room is still open.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Yeah.
But it's nowhere near April. It will be
right. It's going to be sold out. I'm calling it right. I'm pointing at the grounds. I'm pointing at the bleachers. I'm pointing out to the crowd now.
We're gonna
be a home run, man.
Claiming it.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, stay blessed. We will see you in a couple weeks, brother.
All right, man. Take care. Thanks again.
Take care. See you later.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the man, Michael Bland. Hope you guys had a fun night tonight. Lots of stuff for you to catch up on. I was going to sit on that high. I don't know if everybody noticed, but I'm wearing a high fade t-shirt today that I got from the. It was crazy. Okay, so listen to this. I went to go see High Fade in Atlanta. Amazing show, great show. I did a lot of video, but I also recorded audio of it too. I'm sending everything to High Fade, and they'll check it out as they go. But I got a vinyl that was autographed by them and a t-shirt. And when I went to pay for it, he said that'll be 60 pounds. And I wasn't thinking about conversion in my head, to US dollars. I was like, is it less? Is it more? I don't know. So I signed it, whatever. And then I got with my brother-in-law and he's like, 60 pounds. That's a lot. I was like, how much is it? 60 pounds? It's like $75. It was like $75. So it's okay. I'm supporting the band. It's all good. But anyways, a t-shirt and vinyl was $75. It was like, whew, that's like a name brand show. That's a major artist show there pricing. Anyways, great show. The interview is up I did with High Fade. So go check that out. If for those who are not familiar with High Fade, you can check out the video I posted on Facebook, facebook.com/Funkatopia. Also, the interview is out on YouTube as well. Actually, the High Fade clip is on YouTube as well. Go to Funkatopia.com. You can see all that stuff. So thank you to High Fade I got to interview them on site at the concert backstage. So I got to interview them there. Thank you tonight for Batavian and also Danny Bedrosian from Parliament Funkadelic and the release of their new album, Red Balloon. We walked through every single one of the songs on the album. I played you a little clip of every single one of them. So I hope you guys enjoyed that and some of the backstory and some of everything that was going on. You can still get that album tonight, Funkatopia.com/Batavian. That's PATAVIAN. You can also get information to pick up the album there. Thank you once again to Michael Bland for showing up to kind of talk through the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees and some of the other craziness that's going on with that. And of course, the Record Store Day information about the Prince release. And of course, we talked more about the documentary as well. So another packed night of stuff. I probably am going to take next week off because I feel like I'm just kind of been running a lot because I don't know if you saw at the beginning of the show, not very many of you were here at the beginning, but this has been a very, very active, year already. I mean, I told you at the end of 2024 that my goal was to talk about bands that not were necessarily attached to Prince, but that were funk, everywhere funk. And so far this year, just as I said, tonight we had Batavian and Danny Bedrosian from Parliament Funkadelic. At the beginning of the year, we had Adam Smirnoff from Lettuce. We've also had DeVibes from Watermelon Funk. Michael Bland has been on the show three times. I interviewed High Fade. High Fade, their interview was just posted yesterday, so you can see that on YouTube and everywhere else. And of course, last week, interviewed Jesse Johnson on the 40th anniversary of Jesse Johnson's Review. So the only one that's tied to Prince in all of that, Michael Bland and Jesse Johnson, but we weren't talking about Prince, we were talking about, I mean, though Prince stories did come up, but we were talking about Jesse Johnson's review, which Prince had nothing to do with. So I think I've been pretty good at kind of maintaining that balance of making sure that I give you what I've promised so that you guys can experience more in the funk world, but also kind of making sure that you guys are getting what you need for your purple fixes and my purple fixes too, because obviously, here we are. So anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. I hope, please subscribe, like, whatever. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, please follow, whatever it is on X, just wherever you are, please make sure that you like and subscribe. It means a lot. Good night, everyone. Hope you had a good time. Mr. Christopher, Funkatopia, signing out. Good night.